Hey guys, Daniel here, and because we're not doing any sketches right now over the summer, we thought it would be fun to go back and watch all of the sketches that we have done and pick out what our top 5 favorites are. So I've picked out my top 5, and Katie's picked out her top 5, and she's gonna tell us those next week. But this week, it's all about me and my top 5. But before I get into that, I have 3 honorable mentions that just barely didn't make the list, so I'm gonna tell you what those are. The first one is, first honorable mention, The Dream. I like this one just because I think that the special effects actually look really good. I think that like how we have the green screen, I just think it came out really good. And so it's so simple, but it's so much fun. And also I love the music because it's our da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, only it's all superhero-y, and I think that's really cool. Second honorable mention is The Slap in the Face. I like this one just because I think it's really funny, and I like the whole story behind it. It's silly, but it's good. I like it. Third honorable mention is The Stick. I like this one because, what's that face about? Well, don't tell me.
No, you'll see.
I like this one just because, well, kind of again, I just like the whole story, but I like how the whole scene where we're like fighting and stuff, and I think that's cool. But that's my honorable mentions, which means that now it's time to get to my top 5. So let's do it. Starting with, of course, number 5, which is The Card Game. I like this one because I like how the whole thing is like the one shot, and it's very well orchestrated where like everyone's leaving and then coming in and everybody's always doing something. And also this one's just really cool because it's the only one, I think, that has all 4 of us in it. Me, Katie, and our mom and dad. So that was fun to be able to get the whole family in there and do that. My favorite part of this one is like the ending where the 3 of them all leave to go do whatever, and then I'm just left there and I'm like, okay, solitaire then. I think that's funny. It makes me laugh every time I see it. So The Card Game, that's my number 5. Now for number 4, which is The Hot Dog. When I actually first started putting together my rough list, I actually had this one as number 1 because I've always really liked it, but I watched it again and I was like, well, there's other ones that I like a little bit better, so I moved it back out. But I like it so much because, really just because it was the first sketch that we ever made, and it was the first video of its kind because it was kind of the first one we ever did that was sort of based on real life, and it was like a real life experience that happens to real people.
That's typically what a real life experience is.
Right,
yes.
Right. So, and it was responsible for all of the other sketches because we made this one and we're like, we should do more of these. So every other sketch that we've done up to this point, which is really the reason for the growth that our channel has seen in the last year or two, was because of this sketch, The Hot Dog, my number 4. But now, it's time for my number 3, which is The Christmas Lights. Oh, I knew I wanted to have a Christmas one in here somewhere because all 4 of the Christmas ones we did were just so good. And like, I need to have one of those in here. I went back and forth between this one and the Christmas Carols because that one's just so funny, but I decided on this one because I just like it better. I like how in this one, normally it seems like in the sketches, it's like me doing something dumb or stupid, but that's the same thing, or annoying, and Katie's like mad at me about it, but this one's kind of the opposite because Katie's, well, because like I'm the one like mad at you, and then you're sort of like, okay, I'm sorry. I like how our characters are sort of different in this one, and Katie's acting in this one is really good. It looks really good because it was shot outside, so we have all the natural light and stuff, and it's just funny. My favorite part of this one is probably the ending when we're looking at all the lights and then I go, ah! But now it's time for my number 2, which my number 2, I would actually probably consider this like the best sketch we've ever made, even though it's not my personal favorite, and it is, you know what it is? The Spider!
Oh my god!
It's just so good, and that's why I like it, because it's perfect. That's the thing, like, it looks perfect, the story's perfect, all of the jokes are funny, the acting is great. The other thing I love about this one is how in most of our sketches, it's like Daniel versus Katie, and we're like arguing about something or, you know, whatever, but this one is Daniel and Katie working together.
I can't wait to hear what your first is.
Oh, you thought that was gonna be my first?
I actually had no idea.
The other thing I like about it is how it's from the spider's point of view, and like it's like the one shot, and also how we never see the spider, which I think is actually kind of cool, because we see it moving and stuff because the camera moves, but we never actually see the spider. My favorite part is when we're first going up to hit it with a shoe, and it moves, and then I'm like, ah! But now it's time for my number 1, which I have a feeling I think I'm going to at least surprise her, Katie, with this one. I might surprise some other people, because this is one that honestly doesn't get a lot of like publicity, so to speak. Like, not a lot of people talk about it, not a lot of people quote it or whatever, but I think they should, because I think it's actually a really good one. You know what it is?
No!
The Nightmare! This
Really?
is, yes, really. I think the biggest reason I like this one is just because it's funny. Katie is so funny, like the whole scene where she's like talking about the nightmare she had, and she's just like going,
mostly ad-libbed.
yeah, she just ad-libbed like 90% of that, and then I'm just sitting looking at like, what are you talking about? And it was so funny because I remember when we filmed that, I kept laughing, and then, or I was trying not to laugh, and then you would look at me, and then you would laugh because I was making a funny face, and then, oh, so much fun to make. But
The Nightmare.
The Nightmare! I'm telling you, hey, it's a good one. My favorite part of this one, so far I've noticed that all of my favorite parts have been like the punchlines, like right before the credits.
Yeah.
But that's always the best part. My favorite part though is when I go up and I close the door and I lock her and I jump into the bed and then it starts the music because the shot looks so good. So The Nightmare, that's my number one. So,
Interesting.
well, now you know my favorite sketches, but we want to know your favorite sketches. So what we want you to do is comment on this video, tweet us, post on our Facebook, or even leave a video response on YouTube and tell us what your top 5 favorite sketches are. Okay, so that's all. Make sure you come back next week when we're gonna hear what Katie's favorite sketches are, and I'm excited about that because that should be good. That should be good. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Goodbye. Goodbye.